right, in other news, President Trump has slapped a 50% tariff on Brazil, singling out the country because of its treatment of former President Jair Bolsonaro. Trump has tied the rise in tariffs to the trial his friend is facing for trying to overturn Brazil's 2022 election, which he lost. Mr. Trump has called the trial a witch hunt and said it must end immediately. Brazil's current president says the country will respond with reciprocity. Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George joins us now live from Capitol Hill. And Joe, this doesn't really seem like a business response. It seems a bit more personal.
100%. And I think what we're seeing is a bit of a new era with the president's tariff threats. Up until this point, it's been a lot about trade imbalances. He's looking at countries that have imbalances with trade with the United States. He's looking to correct that with these tariffs. That was a big reason why there was a high tariff initially planned for Vietnam. There's since been a deal with Vietnam, but it was an imbalance that the president wanted to address. This appears to have nothing to do with the trade imbalance. In fact, there's a bit of a surplus if you look at some economic data with trade with Brazil right now. This all has to do with essentially the president believing that Brazil's current government is treating the former president, President Trump's buddy, political pal on the global stage, unfairly with these corruption charges. So this is a bit of a next step, if you will, in terms of the president using this tariff authority. And remember, this question of tariff authority, it's making its way, albeit very slowly, through the court system. And we're likely going to eventually have some clarity over President's powers when it comes to tariffs by the Supreme Court eventually. But I use the word eventually. Until then, we may see more moves like this. This is a noteworthy country, though, as well, to be having a 50% tariff on. Brazil isn't our top trading partner. It's not a Mexico, a Canada, or a China, but it's within the top 15, some of it within the top 10. It's noteworthy for everything from machinery. I was just looking at some of the other things that get imported, agriculture products as well, all potentially soon subject to a 50% tariff. The president has been rolling out these tariffs on social media, on Truth Social. A number were announced yesterday, although a number of the countries that were announced on Wednesday are not major trading countries with the U.S. Brazil is, and this is obviously an effort to try and change what's unfolding in one of the largest and growing economies in the world, the country of Brazil. How is this story playing in Brazil? This is obviously one of the leading stories on their local and national television newscasts, and we'll see where this goes from here. But again, another development in the world of tariffs, Holly.
And any reaction from anybody on Capitol Hill, even Republicans, you know, saying, look, this is a line that we can't cross?
Well, the question that really has been asked, and this goes back for months now, is there any effort by Congress to curtail the tariff authority that the President of the United States believes he has? And the answer is no. Yes, you're going to hear skeptical Republicans. Remember, there's a number of Republicans where I'm at on Capitol Hill who still believe in the principles of free trade, not increased tariffs, Senator Mitch McConnell being one of them. But we haven't seen any wide-scale effort to roll back the tariffs from Congress, and that is a power Congress has. They have not enacted that yet, and leaders are continuing to give that authority, cede that authority to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. Again, there is a legal question here, and we'll see what the courts ultimately decide. It's worth noting, and anytime we're doing our trade tariff coverage here on Scripps News, we remind people of this. These tariffs aren't taking effect immediately. They're taking effect August 1st. That isn't that far away in the real world, right? 20-some days. But in the political world, that's an eternity, and that may be enough time for leaders of Brazil to work with representatives at the State Department, the U.S. Trade Representative, and try to craft some sort of agreement here. Again, it's not exactly an easy fix in Brazil to try to appease the concerns of President Trump, given the president is really looking out for his political pal, someone that he is viewed as an ally on the global stage, who's now facing corruption charges.
All right, Scripps News Deputy Political Director Joe St. George for us. Thank you for that update, Joe.